I'm here with Kaja Rebane. She went over to Washington, D.C. What is Democracy Spring, and why is it that I didn't see a whole lot of it on TV in as much as I saw it all over my feed, which is a more, well, we should say radical feed?
hmm Well, Democracy Spring, first off, and I'll just preface this by saying I'm not one of the organizers of the event. I was a participant, so this is from my perspective as somebody that participated in it.
Well, I
Um,
want to stop you there because, in as much as you weren't an organizer, the outfit that you used made a wonderful meme that went all through the internet with Lady Liberty.
this is the tablet that I used. It's a little warped because I put this together relatively quickly a few days before going, and so I didn't let the paper mache totally dry. And
Right.
then got the torch, which is like a yogurt container actually in a gift wrap like cardboard tube and whatnot. And then the crown, which I built around like a headband, and then it's got a little thing that goes on like that.
I love that. You made all of that yourself.
Yeah.
So when I saw the meme on the internet, I'm like, wait a minute, that is Kaya, that woman that I met at the Democracy Convention. I have to talk to you. But anyhow, tell us a little bit about the event.
Yeah, the event was amazing. I believe they said 427 people arrested that day on the Capitol steps, which is the largest mass arrest on the U.S. Capitol grounds in history, as I understand it. So that's a big deal. It was really inspiring to be there with so many people, so many of them young people, but we definitely had some elders and a lot of folks in between. And it was just great to see so many people from all over the country that came out to, really risk something in the name of getting our political system to actually work for regular Americans again, to help get big money out of the system. So yeah, it was great to be there. And basically what we were doing there is that there are four bills in Congress that the organizers had identified as being things that Congress could pass right now if it wanted to, that would really help us start, fixing the system. It certainly wouldn't do everything, but they would be helpful. One of them is the Udall Amendment, which is one of the bills calling for a constitutional amendment to, overturn Citizens United. I
Right.
don't think it goes quite far enough, but I think it's a good start. And then there were a couple on ending voter suppression and strengthening the ability to vote, and one on public financing of elections, or rather small donor
Right.
matching of small donor contributions. So trying to get all those things passed, and those were the demands. As Congress, we expect you to take action. We demand you do take action, and if you don't, we're going to sit here.
Now, I understand that there are two parts to Democracy Spring. One was a march, is that correct? And where
That's
was that march from?
That march is from Philadelphia, and I was not unfortunately able to be there on the march, but I met a good number of people who were, a number of whom had gone all 10 days, and they were marching 14 miles a day on average.
Now, after the march, they converged on DC, is that correct?
Yeah.
And then that is when other people from many other organizations went into DC to do two things. One, they were having the speeches, etc., and they also had the sit-ins, which you were a part of.
Right.
Now, exactly what were you hoping to accomplish?
I was hoping to play a part in helping to get the word out about how important it is that we pass some of the stuff that's sitting there, and that we also take it further. I mean, in essence, I feel like it's about expanding the conversation and trying to get, yes, media coverage. Now, not just mass media. I wish we would have had more, but also social media, which is really important. And basically talking about these reforms that are needed. And I think one thing that was nice about Democracy Spring is it was tying some of these different things together because they are connected. I mean, if you're talking about suppressing the vote, you're talking about not making it harder for people to register. You're talking about allowing big corporations and rich people to dump money on our electoral process. You're talking about all these things. They're all connected. I mean, they all are part of the status quo system right now. I mean, the lack of some of those things, right?
Mhm.
The current status quo system is perpetuated by keeping some people from voting, from making that harder, from allowing big money to, basically pollute and corrupt our political process. So these things are all connected, and I thought that was something that was really nice about this, was that it did bring those together rather than just focusing on like one particular bill or one particular reform. So it's really more of a pro-democracy kind of conversation that they were trying to start, and I think very effectively did. Granted, much of it via social media, but I mean, social media is a big deal, so that's I think that there was a lot of success there. Now, mainstream media covered it a bit, but not nearly so much. So we have work to do there. On Tuesday, there were basically a lot of elders that got arrested, and they call themselves elders because through your life you gain wisdom. This is what they said anyway, and I think that's awesome. And so that was the focus then. There are other days where I believe there's going to be college students and climate activists and folks who are pushing for racial equality, Black Lives Matter, things like that. So I don't know how it's all divided up, but they have some difference in focus on the different days. So you have different groups, contributing to getting the message out about these very important issues.
Do you think you're building enough of a movement where these folks are going to stay together?
Well, that's hard for me to really say. I think that this is part of, is this a movement itself or is it part of a bigger movement? Those are arbitrary boundaries to some degree. I think there is definitely something that you can call a pro-democracy movement in this country, and it's got different wings and different kind of ebbs and flows and whatever, and absolutely this is part of it. And I'm sure that a lot of people that come together in this event also then will continue working together in different ways because you meet people and you make connections, and that's how it goes. But I don't think that Democracy Spring single-handedly is going to fix all of our problems, no, but I think it's playing an important role.